and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not reflect the views of BronxNet, the Kitty Rose Lifestyle, or the program underwriters. This is the movement. The movement.
I was a little offended, but then I was like, okay, so be it. But then my own stereotype, when I meet you, you're not the black girl. I mean, you are the black girl, but you're not the black girl, and her name is not Aisha. So that's kind of like, it was good for me because I think it helps me. Sometimes we get to this point in our life that we think we're so conscious that we don't even fall into stereotypes or being racial or racist, and we end up kind of carrying that torch. Have you found that to be the case? Are you from the Bronx? Do you live in the Bronx?
Yes, I grew up in the Bronx. I'm from Bangladesh. My parents.
Now, are you from there, or is your family from there?
I was born there.
Okay.
I was born in Bangladesh.
Okay.
It's good to clarify
Okay.
Because there is a difference,
There is
and
a
people have
difference.
different experiences. So I was born in Bangladesh. I came when I was 3. I have not been back. I did not go back until I was an adult, until I was 21. That's for financial reasons. My parents just didn't have enough money to take us back there as children. And I grew up in all around the Bronx. My dad works in the restaurant industry as a cook, and we moved a lot when I was young, and then we kind of settled in the North Bronx. I went away for 4 years for college. I was really lucky and was able to have this really fantastic education at a private school, my first private school experience in Ohio. And then after that, I came back to New York City. I lived in Inwood, Washington Heights area for a while, which I love that neighborhood.
How old were you around that time?
Around in my 22, 23.
Okay, so this is like your first experience, not home, but still home.
Exactly.
Okay.
Right.
In the Heights.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, in the Heights.
Which is different from the Bronx.
It is.
Even though it's still a Latin community.
Yes. It's very different. It's much like it's more wealthy.
Okay.
It's in like some ways.
Okay.
Especially the area that I was in. And it's I think it's a really great community because it's very like it's a strong community. Like people know each other. Like like generations of people have been there.
Did you feel like an outsider then?
No, not at all. Because I went to DeWitt Clinton High School.
Okay.
Which is like primarily Hispanic and Black. So that's my home. That's like the people I grew up around.
Okay.
So yeah.
So how was that? So how long were you in the Heights before you came back to the Bronx?
Just 2 years, and then my husband and I decided that we were going to buy a house, and I wanted to come back to the Bronx.
Okay.
So and the reason for that is growing up, I did a lot of spoken word poetry, and there was I'm forgetting that this is the name of the program I used to go to, but there was this guy, he was a poet, his name was K Swift, and he was talking about his neighborhood in Brooklyn, and like how he thought, this was also 10 years ago, he thought like, the way you make a neighborhood better is for all the people that have been able to get out of that neighborhood, an impoverished area, for those people to come back and make it better themselves, because then they they have this responsibility, but also they know the community.
Okay.
And so like that has resonated with me through my like entire life, like through my college career, through like what I think about doing with to like where I work, you know.
Okay.
Like it was a conscious choice to move back to the Bronx, to be closer to home, to be in a community that like isn't like just like to diversify, like economically diversify a community, and knowing that like right now I'm like in a middle class situation, you know, and like bringing that with the perspective of like also having grown up in like low income household, so just, you know, bridging that.
So I have another stereotype question. Was your marriage arranged?
No. That's actually a good question. Actually,
Because I wasn't even expecting you to say that you were married yet. Because I'm looking at you about 24 years old, and not that that's a young age to get married. Because I was married at 23. So, but you know, I feel like this generation, the next generation, obviously you don't look necessarily too married yet. Like my children, like my daughter is 13 and already has a plan that, you know, she won't be getting married until she's like 27. You know?
Yeah.
So it wasn't arranged.
No, it wasn't arranged. It was that in itself was a crazy. My parents are Bengali from Bangladesh.
Okay.
My husband is from Ohio. He's American.
Is he white?
He is a white,
Okay.
which is complicated.
Okay.
In our relationship dynamic, there are
Okay.
lots of complications,
Okay.
but he's like woke, I guess.
Okay.
But he's still working on it. He'll always be working on it.
Right. How long have you? Okay. So how long have you been married?
We've been married 2 years.
Oh, newlyweds. Okay, so go ahead, go back.
So
he's from Ohio.
He's from Ohio.
So how did you meet him?
We met in school.
Okay.
Because he went to Kenyon. Well, so when he was, okay, what was I
I guess I was asking the stereotypical question about was your marriage arranged?
Oh, yeah. So, actually, I wasn't allowed to have boyfriends growing up or anything like that.
Now, being allowed to have boyfriends doesn't mean you don't have boyfriends.
Yes, of course I did.
Okay. But you weren't allowed.
I was not allowed. Basically, I wasn't really allowed to. Like, my parents just thought that there should be a separation between the two genders until you were married. So, and my parents had an arranged marriage. And lots of people in my family do have arranged marriages. And that process has really changed. So, like, a lot of people think that, like, the women don't have any say, and that's not really true. My mom could have said no to my dad, you know, it's much more open. It's like basically dating with your parents present,
Right.
you know, or like, you know.
And how long have they been married?
They've been married 35 years.
So we're going to get back to you, but a question about your parents. And
Yeah.
obviously you don't really know this for certain, but do you think with them having an arranged marriage that they've had a good one?
No.
All right. Okay.
But they are not, there are lots of people within my family that have really great arranged marriages. They just are not compatible for lots of other reasons.
And are they still together?
They're still together.
Okay. So how did that give an impression at all to how you are with your husband or as a wife?
Yeah, definitely. Growing up, I did not ever want to date anyone Bengali, like South Asian, because my dad is a really controlling person, and that comes from like there's a like I understand the context of my father's situation now.
Is it a
more.
religious thing or a cultural thing?
No, it's not a cultural thing or a religious thing. Like, it's actually just as a result of, like, immigrating here, having no control over anything, like, not people not understanding you, like paying rent and, like, managing, like, having children with, like, a really low income and, like, things falling.
How small or how big was your family?
I have 4 siblings.
Okay.
Like, 4 of us together.
Okay.
So, and it's a lot for like a single parent. My mother did not work growing up.
So
she
it's
raised
one
us.
person taking care of 6 people.
Yeah, basically on like a $20,000 a year salary, which is crazy.
Right.
And like rent in New York City is
Even
even
then,
then.
right.
Yeah, so like things just like falling apart around you. So the only thing that you can control is your family, and you want to hyper control.
When
that.
do you think you got that? When do you think you understood that, or was old enough or wise enough to see that? Because growing up, I'm sure there was anger, resentment, confusion, love mixed all in at the same time, and a lot of different emotions, as well as you trying to figure out, okay, I'm a teenager, I'm a young woman, I'm about to go to college. Like, when did you get that light bulb moment to kind of figure out, like, all right, Dad, like, I get it.
It wasn't until I went to Bangladesh
Oh,
and
okay.
as an adult that I finally like truly understood like just how different and like difficult their circumstance was, and how it is for lots of immigrants that are coming over.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think that your husband being from Ohio, like, where's his family from?
His family's from Cincinnati, like the outskirts. Yeah.
It's still not even.
No. Yeah.
So how does that, like, how does that work? I mean, not that it can't work, but like, how does those different type of cultural understandings
Definitely
merge into so far a successful young marriage?
So that's a great question. We actually dated in college for a year and a half, and then we broke up. And so a lot of like those like cultural, like he met my parents but didn't like culturally like immerse with them until and like so. And this is crucial. So
Okay.
this is what makes our marriage work right now.
Okay.
And like it's because he did Peace Corps
Okay.
in Senegal.
Okay.
And he had to like learn a language. He's fluent in Wolof right now.
Okay.
Like
Oh,
which
wow.
is crazy.
I know.
And
I can't even imagine, but I can.
And he wasn't in a city, he was in a remote village, living in a hut for
Okay.
2.5 years, you know?
Okay.
Like everyone, he was the only white person in a village of all black people, you know? So like that experience in itself helped us, like, is helping us now, and has like helped him understand my family situation,
Okay.
my situation, like being like a minority group within minority group, you know?
Oh yeah. Yes. Yes. So let me ask you. And I don't know why we come back to this, but I think I do know why we come back to this, because I think a part of why I do this is I feel like we as a community can't heal until we start to heal individually. So our individual thoughts, as progressive as we are, or we think we are, still has to get checked at the door. So, the first thing I thought about, and we've had, a conversation outside of your husband since you mentioned it, but what stuck in my mind was, well, is he one of those white guys that wants to save the community? Like, one of the white guys is like, I have that one black friend. Like, well, I have a brown skinned guy, and I went to the Peace Corps. Is he like one of those white guys that, feels guilty for what the European culture has done to all other cultures, so he feels like he has to give, I don't understand if you I know you understand what I'm saying. Okay. So did you feel like that when you first met him?
When I first met him, he was definitely not like I was conscious of race since I was able to go to school.
Okay.
But he wasn't conscious of race.
Really?
Like, yeah, and it's not. A lot of white people are just not don't even like. He was like, oh, I don't even think of us as a biracial couple, and I was like, what? Like, what the fuck? And that was when we were like, oh, that was just that. But I mean, that kind of mindset, people are just so.
Do you think that's a good thing?
Not exposed.
But it kind of, because it's weirdly would be like, how can you not? But it's almost kind of good in a refreshing kind of way, because then you really don't live with the blinders that we kind of live with, in a sense that it's kind of almost more dangerous for us, I think.
Yeah, I see what you mean. There are people become like super dogmatic in their thought about race, and and it can become divisive. Whereas like if you think about like, oh, race doesn't exist,
Right.
but that's like kind of a privileged position, you know, to think like, oh, we're past that, like, because you don't see that we're not, you know, you're not in a, like, you've never experienced racism, like, you haven't been exposed to people who may have.
So going against cultural tradition of being successful or coming for that American dream of money, and then marrying outside of your culture and outside of your race. One, how did that impact your relationship with your parents? Did it impact them embracing your marriage? Did you have a traditional marriage? Did you guys just go down to City Hall and say bump this? You know, how is his family? Because you put it all on your family, or I'm putting it all on your family. But who's to say that Caucasians are just not as stereotypical as Middle Eastern?
Definitely. So my family, like, I didn't tell them about Joey until he engaged. He proposed. I was
So
like,
you're dating this guy for like a year and a half. You break up. You guys get back together, and until he gives you a ring, you don't tell your parents.
Well, they met him in passing before, right?
Just some guy.
Yeah, but basically I was like, oh, look, this is my friend.
And now, oh, look, Mom. So then how was that? Because that had to be kind of crushing. As a mom.
Yeah, definitely. So it was very emotional.
I didn't know that you were going to be such a diverse guest. I thought you were a black girl. Okay. Because I don't know how we could fit that all into a half an hour and still come back to the Bronx Museum, which is hosting this conversation. Okay, so yes, go ahead. So in a brief way, explain how difficult.
Yes. Okay, I'll try. So yeah, it was definitely difficult for my parents to grapple with it.
You're not a doctor.
I'm not a doctor, and now like, what? They were like, what's going on? This person is not even any shade of brown. I don't understand.
From Ohio. I'm so sorry. Okay. Right.
So basically there was like a meeting. My parents held a meeting. Basically, it was like an intervention.
With my siblings?
No, not with my siblings, with my uncles. And basically, they tried to convince me not to marry this person. And what's weird is, like, my parents actually, deep down, I don't think really cared.
Okay.
Especially my dad.
Okay.
I think they just really, I know.
Okay.
Like, because I think he was fine with it. Deep down, all your parents want your children to be happy.
This is true.
You know, I think what they wanted from my uncles is for them to say, "All right, just let her marry him," but that didn't happen. My uncle was like, "Don't marry him." I know.
You know why? Because you don't think that still happens.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Right. You don't. So how was his family?
His family was. They're really accepting.
Okay.
They're great. They really are.
I mean, they got a son in the Peace Corps. A European don't have as many cultures as traditions as other cultures have. So you guys, I don't know, do you celebrate everything? Like when the moon turns yellow and you have this big feast?
So my family is Muslim.
Okay.
So that
So
is
how
the
is he on
difference.
Ramadan?
So Senegal is a Muslim country, so he
Okay.
learned all about Islam there,
okay.
and that's really great. He picked up some like Arabic, so you can.
Does
say,
he go through Ramadan with you?
No, he doesn't.
Okay.
He doesn't celebrate like things like that with
Okay.
us. But occasionally, when I'm like, "Oh, we should fast together,"
Right.
he will.
Okay.
And that's fine. Like he's like very open to the things like that.
So you were here curating a show. So you were already in, I guess, the arts community or the culture, the nonprofit world. So what made you do that transition? I mean, I understand you moving back to the Bronx so that you could be invested in a community that kind of raised you. It's funny because I'm from Brooklyn. I've lived in the Bronx now for 18 years. And my children say, stop telling people you're from Brooklyn because you've been in the Bronx now so long. But I do believe where you're from,
Yeah.
you know, or where, like, ideally, if I could afford to move back to Brooklyn, I probably would.
Right.
But then I loved what I'm finding out about the Bronx, because I was very opposed to learning anything about the Bronx. I was very opposed. I felt like, and it's funny because I grew up in a predominantly Latino community. I grew up in Bushwick, you know, but for some reason when I got to the Bronx, I felt disconnected. I didn't really feel a part of anything. So that's how I ended up going to Harlem. But it's so funny how in the last 2 years, especially this journey I'm on with producing television now, it's all through benefits of being a Bronx resident. So you coming back to the Bronx doesn't mean I have to work in the community. You can still do corporate America and financially contribute to your community, because now you are a property owner. You're shopping in your community. You can still contribute it in a way that didn't have to go into working the poor life. So how and why did that happen? And again, because your parents came here for a better life. Not to say that you don't have a better life, but again, this is not necessarily a life we all chose.
Yeah, definitely. I think a pivotal moment is, again, going back to Bangladesh and understanding like what the fuck the place my parents were from, and it's like a really beautiful, culturally rich place.
Because you hadn't been there since you were 3.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. So this is my only experience of it is as an adult. So I think like so Bangladesh is a very rich, like, literary country. When people talk, it's like they're fucking talking poetry.
Okay,
Like,
isn't that where all our silks come from? Right.
Like the language is very metaphorical. It's a beautiful language.
Okay.
So like when
Okay.
yeah, like and it's not like high up people that talk this way. It's like low people in the village. You know,
but
like,
still.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that are like, oh. So I think I got mosquito bites a lot when I was there, and one of we had a cook living in our house, and she was like, oh, that's just like Bangladesh giving you a kiss that you'll remember. So you'll remember us when you go to America. Those are Bangladesh's kisses.
Okay.
You know, that's like a normal way of speaking.
Okay.
You know, like that kind of deep metaphor.
Okay. The mosquito bites that itch me in a red and annoy the hell out of me. Those are blessings and kisses. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So they'll help you remember this place. You know?
Oh, okay. So when you get mosquito bites here in the summer, do you
I
remember
think
home?
I do think about Bangladesh.
Okay.
So understanding like what a culturally rich place Bangladesh is, and understanding how integrated the arts are to this place.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
like just on a daily basis, like people, like a basket, like people weave there, like you know, it's just like integrated in their daily life. Like people love beauty and like look at the trees and things like that, and nature, and very like connected, you know, in such a different way. And then understanding like, okay, so this is something that I was lacking when I was a child, definitely.
Okay.
Like understanding this like cultural richness that like my community has.
Okay.
And I really wanted to bring that back to the Bronx, because but there are a lot of Bengalis who live in the
Okay.
Bronx. It's the seventh like largest.
Really?
Like
Seven is high.
seventh most spoken language in the world, and it's also like
In the world?
It's the highest growing. Yes, seventh
Wow.
most spoken language in the world, and it's a
Okay.
really small country, so it's like kind of
Okay.
crazy.
Right.
And it's also like one of the highest growing immigrant populations in New York City,
Wow.
and also like a lot of other urban cities across the U.S. like
Okay.
Detroit.
Okay.
Yeah, there are lots of Bengalis everywhere, but
Okay.
nobody knows anything about them.
Okay, so
Meeting all those really great artists, and also meeting people that are like Bangladeshi intellectuals there, you know, and like people like me there.
Okay.
Which they're like, it's harder to find people like that are interested in the arts here that are Bengali in New York City.
Okay.
It's like hard. It's harder.
Well,
because
do
a
you
lot of
think it's
people-
harder because it's not as much, but it's not really as hard?
Yeah.
If you brought the opportunity, or you brought the life out, then you would get more of people like-minded like
Yeah,
you.
right. So there is like that. Like there's just not that much like in terms of like understanding the Bangladeshi community.
Okay.
There's not. like
There's not an underground.
there is an underground. There are really great Bangladeshi American artists doing really good work here.
Okay.
But they're just not known, you know?
Okay.
Like nobody really knows about them.
Does
and
that bother you?
Definitely. If I knew some more Bengali artists as a kid, like it would just have really helped me like understand like that what I was doing was okay.
Like
you
what?
know?
What do you mean?
Like, you know, being interested in writing and the arts and like wanting to pursue a career and like having
Why
to,
do you think that just wasn't? You was brought up in the Bronx. You was brought up in a community that's rich with culture
Yes.
in the arts. I mean, people don't like to talk about it, and we kind of just mention it. But you know, the Bronx is where hip hop or you know
Exactly.
music. Like, there's so much art in the Bronx itself. So being raised here, yes, you might have not been aware of your culture being so invested in the art, but you grew up in a very art like setting, or no?
Yes,
Okay.
I did. So yeah, that definitely influenced why I like was an artist, and obviously, not obviously. So there's the saying the lily comes out of the mud, you know, and the
Isn't that the,
roots are steeped in the mud.
The lotus, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah, that is one of the reasons why the Bronx is so rich in like art, because like, so again, I'm just gonna go back. Like, so my dad was controlling to a point where he was abusive.
Okay.
You know, so like having that like really intense like home experience, like how am I gonna escape? It's through books, it's through art, it's through like going to museums. It's how am I gonna understand like what's happening there? It's through the arts. Like it's not like a science textbook isn't gonna help me.
No, it doesn't.
Like understand and grow my like soul, you know, and like become
Grow my soul, right?
and become a good person in that context. It's really hard, but like, you know, how do you even how do you not become angry and aggressive and like all of these things when that's happening in your house? Like, there are so many things that were going on inside me, and like having access to books and the arts was like saved me in a way. That was definitely something that. And that's how my artistic self formed.
Okay.
You know?
Did you take that in? Did you major in that when you went away to school?
Yeah, I studied
Okay.
English and studio art.
Okay. So you study, you know it already, what you think you want to do, or did you know like early on like you were going to have a life in the arts? Before you went to Bangladesh?
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't really have a full understanding, because when you're that young and like when your parents don't have those connections,
right, or
like,
support,
you
because
just
you're supposed to be a doctor.
yeah, right. You just don't. You don't really understand how things work. You don't know like I should do an art internship or like, you know, things like that. And like in the back of my mind, like even though I was majoring in English and studio art, there's a part of me that wasn't like fully invested. You know, I'd be like, okay, I'd probably go to grad school for something that can make money or something like that. And that's not how I feel
You
now.
might have to leave the nonprofit world in order to accomplish that goal.
No. I accept any challenge.
Okay.
Yeah, it like the. Oh, you mean like go corporate? Oh, I would never do that.
Why not?
I would freelance before I do that and like try to do something that way. I wouldn't go corporate. It just kind of goes against everything I stand for.
Really? And what do you? Let's end on that. What do you stand for?
That's a good question.
Okay.
The freedom to do what you want.
That's right.
I think that's important. Just having the freedom of choice.
Where are you and the 4 children?
I'm the oldest.
The oldest. Have your other siblings have watched you and kind of say, well, if Esha can do it, then I can do it, or have they fallen into the typical let's do what mom and dad wants us to do?
Oh, they're definitely rebels.
So then, the 4 of you guys being rebels and you having very traditional parents, do you think that lightweight, maybe they're not so traditional, but on the surface, like you said, they had to teach you that, but on the low? Because how can 4 rebels come out of a...
Yeah, that's a great question. And yeah, my parents, are definitely not typical Bengali parents anymore, and like they get a lot of shit from the Bengali community because of the way like, their
Really?
children. So that's hard for them. Like now they're kind of like these outsiders in this community, and like there is some like backlash, or like there are people who just don't want to associate with us because they're like, I don't want my children to be like you guys.
That's a part too.
This is the movement. The movement.